and not only that, they got to be pretty darn fast also. So how does that work out? How do you find each other, you know?
I actually started, came up short at the Olympic trials myself in '04. That's when I actually got started as becoming a guide and working on it. A good friend of mine introduced me to the sport who was a leg amputee, and the first person I worked with, I was actually a caller, which basically means I would clap him down the runway. He was a long jumper, and he did awesome, took the silver medal. Just so happened that the original guide runner for the other athletes pulled his hamstring in the first race at the Paralympic Games in Greece. And I was next to step up, and the rest is history. I've been part of it. The guy that I ran with the first time, he ended up winning his national record, and yeah, I'm here.
Back in 2010 is when I actually started being a part of the Paralympics and going to different camps and such. And I was paired up with Jerome for the first time in this relay, and that was when I got to run with him for the first time. But no, he was running with a different athlete at the time. Throughout the years, I continued to train, and then I moved out to the Olympic Training Center in 2012. But I had a different guide, and I trained and competed alongside that guide for about 2 years, and then I started outrunning him. And so we had to bring in the big guns, which is Jerome, Avery right here, and we've been paired up ever since.
For you guys, both of you guys, all three of you guys, how important is this meet getting ready for the Paralympics later this summer?
Well, Drake Relays is one of the few meets that we go to where, in my case, I can compete against amputee athletes, and it gives me an opportunity to run against other fast athletes, you know, because the amputees, you know, they're not slow. So it gives me an opportunity to go against other, I guess you could say, high caliber athletes and be able to compete at a good high level.
Speaking for myself, I just think it's great. We try to limit our seasons knowing that we are professional athletes now. You can't go through it how you would in high school or in college, just overloading yourself. I don't have a Paralympic group to jump with, so it's just really nice to be able to show everybody that us Paralympic athletes can do things just as well as everybody else can. So I'll be jumping with the Rio Olympics game preview group, and that's just usually how it goes for me at most meets, whether it's Mountain Sack, whether it's Drake Relay. So just really happy that I have a good group of people around me to make things like this possible.
What are some of the factors that you have to deal with in high jumping that, you know, other high jumpers take for granted?
Well, just the range of motions that a normal high jumper would be able to go for. You see a lot of jumpers would lead up with their arm going up and back this way, and my arm, I'm not able to do any of that with, as well as everything that goes into it. Like I tell my athletes that I coach, you know, doing something right 100 times can get you a half a centimeter better, let's do it. I'm not able to do a lot of things correctly. So there are a lot of opportunities that I miss out on in practice and training in general, but you know, got to find a way around it.
How important is it for you guys to do these events here in the United States to just kind of keep bringing that awareness and showcase your athleticism as well? Of
course, it's really important for us to continue to do meets like this, you know, just to build that awareness of, you know, Paralympic sports. Because in the United States, it's not as big as, you know, say in the other countries like Great Britain, you know, and all the European countries and everything else. So for us to compete over here and to show our athleticism and, you know, continue to show everybody what Paralympics is capable of doing, that we're just as good as Olympic athletes, you know, it's great.
I think it's really good for the simple fact that I'm coming from the guide runner standpoint. I've seen these guys that I've worked with train day in and day out, worked hard. I've had the opportunities to medal with different athletes, and to see David Brown finally getting that out there and everybody paying attention to what he's doing, it's a great feeling. Like I said, I've been a part of this since '04, and 2 years ago, that's when people started paying attention. Oh, David Brown, he's blind and he's running this fast. So things like that obviously helps a lot for us being here at Drake Relays.
You know, you have a big fan up in the press box, Mike J. He loves you guys, and I don't know what happened at the Paralympic game or the Nationals or wherever he was, but he is one of your biggest fans. You guys feel like it's changing the awareness for this and the appreciation for it?
Most definitely. He was actually at the Pan American Games and the Pan Am Games, and yeah, I saw him last night at the pole vault, and he said something to me. But yeah, it's definitely, the awareness is definitely starting to get a lot better, and this year I feel is going to be, and for the years to come, it's going to get just a lot greater, because this year is the first year that U.S. Paralympics is going to be televised, for Rio, and after that, all we can do is just continue to go up.
David, what do you remember about last year running here and how you did?
I remember last year I was nervous, real nervous, and I remember it was cold, but it was a great experience, to say the least. I'm so excited to be back. I love Drake. This is one great track. I've been looking forward to this all year, and I feel like this year is going to be a lot better, and hopefully we get invited again next year, and next year it will just be greater than this one.
And Jerome, seeing that crowd react last year the way they did, what'd that mean to you?
That's a great feeling. It shows that what he's doing is working, and training hard. It's good. And also, I love the fact that they bring us out here to not line up, but be in the same environment as the able-bodied athletes, the Olympians. Olympians and Paralympians line up together, and it's good for David and Roderick to be around other elite athletes. And the elite athletes now recognize them and come up to them and talk to them. And that's a great honor.
How soon do you guys hope to have it intermingle at the actual Olympics and have the events kind of coexist with one another?
That's further down the line. Of course, it's a hope, pushing towards, us to have maybe a couple of Paralympic events at an Olympic event and stuff like that. How far down the line is going to happen, we can't really say. Because this Paralympics is actually growing pretty rapidly. So the timeline for it can happen soon, it can happen later. You just never know.
Yeah, we have so many events and categories aligned. I could definitely see them adding a amputee 100, a visually impaired 100 into the Olympics, and have it being separate from the Paralympics before I see them totally combining the entire groups, just because, even at Pan Am's alone, having to stop the events a bunch of times to listen to those national anthems. Yeah. You got a lot more events, but I definitely see it being a possibility one of these days, but as for when, I'm just hoping that we can be a part of that being able to happen.
And with that, I believe it's going to be another combined event, kind of like Drake, because I'm not trying to brag on myself, am the only fastest the only totally blind athlete to be able to compete against amputees. So if we do something like that, and when it comes to that point, I believe it has to be another combined event, sort of.
But not just amputees, he also competes against sighted athletes. There are competitions where we race against sighted athletes in open track meets, so yeah.